Ladies and gentlemen, we will welcome you to the islands of Japan for the 17th round in XRL's X3 division. It's Suzuka, in my opinion, one of the greatest racetracks in the entire world. I'm Insanely R17. I've been covering the X3 season most of this year. I'm being joined by a veteran XRL driver, XRL Azda. Azda, great to have you back in the booth. We're looking forward to what can be a very interesting race. This race has always been near the end of the schedule in Formula One, simply because there's so much chaos that frequently happens here. What do you think we can look forward to happening today?
Well, drivers have got to look out for a number of corners here today. It's a very technical circuit, like basically the end of the season. All the end of the season circuits are very technical. So it's got to show, drivers have got to show some of the talents that they have, and ultimately the best will come on top, because this is a very demanding circuit, and if you don't get it right, then you're going to be at the back. So corners to maybe look out for is the S sectors and Spoon. 130 yard, you're going to see some great action there with people going side by side. And yeah, it's an all-around nice circuit, very flowy if you're on a wheel, and so it's a very nice circuit.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this race. One of my favorite circuits in the entire world. Just real quickly, though, let's go ahead and run down the driver order. We have a full grid for today's race, starting with the Mercedes F1 team. XRL Snake and XXX Books XXX are here. In the Scuderia Ferrari camp, it's XRL Smish and XRL Turbo. For the Red Bull team, it's XRL Whippy and XRL Steel. McLaren is seeing Careless Jackson and XRL Stumpy doing the representations for them. In the Renault team, XRL Herbie and Jailbend. Then in the AlphaTauri Honda, it's Fratters and XRL Fritz, followed by the Racing Point team of Retroixie and Find Waldo. In Alfa Romeo Orland, you have XRL Cargo and Atui. In the Haas F1 team, it's Boothby 116 and Remixo. And for the Williams team, it's Constant Jet and XRL Tome.
Alright, so we're getting underway here in about a minute or two. We've got a full grid, yeah, so we should be going in a minute, as we're not waiting for anybody to come in the lobby. Who do you think is going to come out on top today, Insane?
I have learned way too many times in this series to not start putting bets until after qualifying is over. And then at some circuits, like last week at Sochi, even putting your bets after qualifying is over may be a bad idea.
Yeah, Cargo is in the lead, obviously, for the constructors now. Not constructors, what? Drivers, should I say. So Retroixie, obviously, he had that really bad DNF, Russia. So he needs to pull it back and maybe get a win and a fastest lap to get near Cargo again. But yeah, it was unfortunate for Retroixie the other week, but it's his time now to make it right again. And Cargo just needs to keep it safe and try and get a nice little pony finish to extend his lead.
Also want to give a little shout to Constant Jet and the Williams, bringing home a good chunk of points last week, so good job on him there. But yeah, Sochi ended up being very, very chaotic and really shook up the driver's title. Actually, XRL Snake is brought a little bit closer up and ended up leapfrogging over Atui in the constructor's title. So we have two outright fights for points right now. XRL Cargo is currently 11 points over Retro, like you said, and then XRL Snake and Atui are down there fighting for third and fourth in the points. There's only 6 points between them. Find Waldo is gradually slipping down the order, though. He's still fifth, but he's real quickly losing touch with third and fourth place right now. He needs to turn that around. And he had the perfect chance to turn it around last week, but he was the only Racing Point to survive all the chaos in the first 5 laps. But the problem was, due to wing damage and just, it seemed like maybe not having the perfectly optimized car setup, the amount of spots he gained were not really enough to salvage his day. What could have been easily a 1-2 or 1-3 finish for the Racing Point team ended up turning into a DNF and I believe a 7th. So
yeah, it wasn't a very good day for the Racing Points last week, but these two need to pull it together and hopefully gain some more points back. XRL Steel in Dev yesterday. Got a point. He's 10th. But yeah, I was frequently seeing not that control players are just doing it, but control players were frequently just spinning at the S's. I think it's because with a wheel you can be really smooth with it, and you can tell when the back end's coming out. With a controller you can't really. So yeah, we've got to see. We're gonna see some yellow flags in the S's. But we could also see, I think me and Whippy, we went side by side through turn 1. That is quite nice as well, but you gotta be very careful if you're doing that, so, yeah.
Looking right now at the circuit as I'm beginning to set everything up here. It's looking like we have a cloudy, overcast qualifying session. Now, whether or not that will actually end up going into a rain scenario, that's up for grabs. We have no real way of knowing quite yet, so correct me if I'm wrong. 2 DRS zones on the track, one right before 130R, and then one for the start-finish line. Am I correct on that?
No, there's actually only one DRS straight, and that's on the pit lane straight. It would make sense to put one before 130R, but I guess you already have that speed that you don't really need to have any extra speed on this 130R. So yeah, and I've just got information that it's a dry collie and dry race, so that should be alright, and it's Killer Shack's in first out on track, so yeah, we'll see what the benchmark is and see if anyone else can beat it.
We'll take a little bit before we get the actual benchmark itself, of course. Laps here are very, very long. Atui making an interesting decision. It looks like he's considering starting Q1 on the medium tire compounds.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but I see his logic. He wants more soft for Q2 because you can never do medium soft or soft medium here. Obviously, you know what I found out in PRL, which is on Thursdays? The hards around here are absolutely beautiful. So if you get lap 1 wing damage, go on the hards, don't go on the mediums. For me personally, the hards were just like the softs. I don't really get it, but yeah, the hards are beautiful around here. I've heard it from other people as well. Yeah.
So, is it that the hards are beautiful, or is it just you guys are too slow to maximize the softs?
The hards just feel really nice around there. Usually you don't really touch hards because, well, they're just really horrible. Overheat, or no, underheat should I say, and they have no grip. But they had massive grip when I tried them, so, yeah. So that's just my prediction on hards.
Well, I will say this, considering how much of this track is extremely technical, you're almost constantly putting some sort of turn or weight shift into the car. It wouldn't surprise me that it'd be a lot easier to keep the hards at the operating temperature. And then I'll have to ask on the other end, do you think there's a risk of overheating the softs under normal driving conditions if the setup's not ideal here? Simply because you're putting so much strain on the tires and the suspension all the time long.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, if you have like a little slide, and then you go into the S's, and then you do the hairpin, and then you do the other thing, yeah, you can definitely overheat them really easily. But that's just because that's the nature of this circuit. So you need to just put the tire pressures down to like basically nowhere, and then I think you'll be all good. That's what I found anyway. But it depends on your setup and how your driving style is.
Well, real quickly, I want to go ahead and take a look at the first driver. Well, not the first driver, actually. I want to take a look, personally, at going to be the second driver who will cross the line with a clean lap, and that's going to be XRL. Well, no, actually, Whippy's invalidated his lap, so it's going to be Stumpy, I believe, then. Getting a clean lap here, obviously, extremely difficult. But Stumpy and the other McLaren, his teammate, Hillis Jackson's just put the first time of the day up, 129.221. And Stumpy here will be the second driver to put the time up, assuming he doesn't dirty it in these final 2 corners. Well, 3 corners he's coming up to.
Yeah.
The McLaren team has been real solid over the last few weeks. The fact that they've not been able to convert that directly into wins thus far is kind of a shame, honestly. They've been fighting for victories up there with the Alfa Romeos and the Racing Points over the last few weeks.
And that's a time I would like to see, a 1:27.9 from Retro Ritzy. That was the times that were getting put in dev, so I'm expecting these guys to be quicker.
And Stumpy!
Crashed. Yeah.
That car is buried in the wall. He set his time of a 1:31.551, which is roughly 4 seconds off the leader afterwards, and then he bended into the tires in the S's, so already our first DNF. And just as I was saying good things about them also.
Yeah, that's commentator's curse for you, but yeah, that's where you will see a lot of people go off, and also the hill as well. I think that is Fritz. Yeah, he's gone off, and he's on low fuel. But yeah, the hill and that corner where Stumpy went off, I don't know what it's called. It's quite bad. But yeah, that's where you're going to see a lot of people go off, and so he goes into sets a lap time, should I say, sorry, with a 1:28.2. I was expecting him to get maybe into the 1:27s, but you know, you don't really have to show full pace until Q3, so yeah. I think Atsui will come out of mediums just to save his soft tyres, and with you for 1:36. Ooh.
Just gonna go silent for a bit, and we're gonna ride on board with XRL Smish for this next lap, so you can hear what it's like going full board here at Suzuka. Well, that was a lap on board with Smish, and he was a quarter of a second up, only to upset it by cutting the track at the chicane right before the final corner. And now Smish runs a little bit wide in turn 1. That Ferrari is having a lot of stability issues through turn 1.
Yeah.
As is right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, just saying about turn 1. People, you have to get the maximum out of it, you have to be really, really late for it. But with braking really, really late for it, that's Steel nearly goes off there. With brake, oh no, he is off.
Steel is off.
Yeah. With braking really, really late, it makes the car a little bit weird. I guess a little bit unstable with the whole like rear and front being weird kind of thing. So yeah, you'll see a lot. You'll see a lot of people go wide, and that's where we'll probably see a lot of penalties being handed out in the race. So yeah, where you'll see a lot of people get penalties for.
Ottawi is now out onto the circuit, running on the medium tire compounds. He's waited a good amount of time so that way he can gauge the pace of everyone else. But the spread is pretty wide, even discounting Whippy, who is currently 6 seconds off of his teammate Seal. The spread between 1st and 12th on the timesheets, we're looking at a 3.2 second spread right now over 12 drivers. Like, that's a really, really large spread, and you have to wonder how much of that comes down to controller versus wheel, how much of it comes down to improper suspension or improper aerodynamic setup. It's just, there's so many variances and variables on the circuit. I will admit, I don't imagine us seeing a lot of actual on-track action in a conventional sense today. I imagine we will see a lot of drivers gain lapped. I think lap traffic will play a very, very big role in this race, especially in the latter quarter of the event.
Yeah, you know, there can be some very nice action here, but it's not rare, but it's not common, you know. So if you are going to battle, you have to either be behind someone who's slower than you, or holding someone up who's quicker than you, or something like that. So yeah, there probably will be at some point some really nice battles, but it's not going to be all the time constantly, you know. So yeah, I think some of these drivers could get way faster times. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm slow, but I'm not saying that I'm quick. I was doing 127 4s and 3s and 2s in quali, so I know retrovics can beat that, but you may be not showing full beans in Q1. Remixo can do way better than what his time is. So can Cargo probably. I know Snake, he's having massive issues with this circuit, so he will not be at his best.
Oh, one of the Ferraris are off!
Yeah, I just caught that.
That was Smish.
Yeah. Yeah, because...
It was coming out of
the hill.
Coming out of the S's. It looks like the car may have did a little bit of a weight shift and whipped him off the circuit, and he's off track again now. Now he's in the dirt and the gravel, kitty litter, whatever you want to call it there. He's going to go under the crossover point now. But yeah, Ferrari's not having a good time at all. Turbo has set lap after lap after lap, and not one of them have been clean. And now Smish, who has set a time, is struggling significantly on the circuit. He'll pull over to let his teammate by and have a cleaner track ahead of him. Of note, as Atui comes across the line, he invalidated his first lap. His first lap was a 132. Not great, but that wouldn't be enough to get him in. So Ottawa may be at risk of not making it into Q2. Time is running out fast, and he hasn't set time yet. But also of note, not only Ottawa, but also Find Waldo has decided to run Q1 on medium tire compounds. So, very, very interesting strategy. And if they can make it work, my hats go off to them completely.
Yeah, there's obviously a massive spread of times here, so the medium tires are pretty good around here, so yeah, and obviously as the medium tires in Q1, they'll get all the softs that they want in Q2 and Q3. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to do, but if you're not doing it, but as we know, these two guys are very quick, so yeah, I mean, if they can get into Q2 with those mediums, it'll be an achievement. But yeah, there's a lot of spare time, so it could work for them. As Tom is actually another lap. I don't know why you want to be another lap, because he's safe, but anyway. Oh, Purple's sector 2. 8 temps. See what you can do as he comes across the final corner now. Onto the finish. He goes 4 with a 128.2. Nice that time from him there.
That's good enough to leapfrog him over Atui, who was running those medium tire compounds. Spread's still pretty large between 1st and 16th. 16th, XRL Steel is out on the track trying to improve. He needs to make something happen. Whippy has had no luck whatsoever. He's now 19th. There's only one driver who hasn't set a time yet, Max Constant Jet, who is currently about halfway through the circuit. But yeah, for Turbo, Steel, Whippy, and Constant Jet, they need to pull time and a good chunk of time out of their rear ends fast because time is running out.
I just want to say, look at Atui on both those times. on mediums. That is actually a pretty good time on the medium tyres, so hats off to them. And I don't know what time they're going to do in Q2. But yeah, as you said, Whippy, Steele, all the guys in the 30s need to pull the fingers out of the gearboxes and, you know, try and get a better lap time. But as I said before, this circuit is drastically technical. So, yeah, it's very hard for drivers to get a good lap time in, as Constant goes 10th for 128.8.
Now the pressure is really on XRL Whippy. He won 2 weeks ago on the streets of Singapore. He's still in the pits right now, and he's 5 seconds off of Stumpy, who's already not going to make it in. He's 6 seconds off his teammate, and just to make it in the top 15, he's closer to 7 seconds out. So, yeah, Whippy really needs to do something, and needs to do it fast, because there's only just under 3 minutes left on the clock right now.
Yeah, he needs to get out right now, unless he's not going out again. You know, it's better, you know, how do I say this? Midfield in Suzuka turn 1 lap 1 isn't the best place to be, because everyone's got together. Turn 1's, you know, tricky as it is with a single car, and no one like 50 million cars around you, when it's actually coming out. But yeah, the midfield isn't really the best place to be. I was thinking Jabelin might do better than what he is. He used to be an X2 driver. Now, he's only just going to make it into Q2, so maybe this isn't his track. I don't know if you ever commentated on Mexico when he used to be an XRL. But he's very...
Your microphone is cutting out on us. Hey, Azda, can you hear me? Azda? Your mic has just completely gone 6 feet under in the last, like, 2 minutes. Like, it's killing itself. Oh, and Whippy! Whippy's gonna loop it around. He gets it back onto the circuit as fast as he can, but he turns it around there at Spoon. Pulls off the circuit so that way some other cars can get by. There's a minute left on the clock, so as long as he keeps reasonable heat on the tires, he will be able to get to the start-finish line. But for Whippy, this is not looking good for him at all. The driver's ahead of him, Turbo, he's already in the S's. 130.783, not good enough to improve him out. Then you have Fratters, who's currently in the middle of a dirty lap, although he's going to just about finish this time. Then his Whippy's teammate Steele is already retired in the pits. JL Bin has retired from the session also. He is right on the bubble of 15. I don't know if he's going to make it. Whippy is now in position to start his next lap. 28 seconds left on the sheets. Alright, welcome back. Your mic seems to be okay for the moment. Can you hear me? Well, I thought his mic was okay, but now I can't hear him whatsoever. Turbo is having the problem. He looks like he may be out of fuel. We're very low on fuel here as he enters into 130R. Time's up, over, plow. So now it's come down to Fratters, Turbo, and Whippy. Will any of them be able to jump into the top spots? The first one that will come across the line will be Turbo. His time was a 130.783. He improves to a 130.368, but that's not enough to do anything of significance. Fratters has gone off the circuit. He's extremely, extremely slow. He is not going to be able to migrate into the next session. Whippy is going to turn it around again. Same time. And it's the same thing that happened. Whippy does not have any sort of good setup. The aero completely stalls out and dies on that car going through Spoon. And it's going to keep him from not only trying to fight for Q2, but he's not even going to be able to fight for 19th on the timesheets. Hello? It seems better for now, so. Well, we found out what Whippy's problem is. Yeah, Right now, Fratters is still on the circuit, but his time's already at 140. He's just kind of like circling the track because he can at this point. Books is coming down that back straightaway, but he is already well over a second and a half down on time, so he's not going to improve. So the times that we have now are what we're going to see. Neither Red Bull driver advances into Q2, so Red Bull regresses back to the rate that they were at the start of the season now. I feel real bad for Whippy and for Steele, because now I'm starting to wonder if Steele is having similar issues. The Red Bull's not very speedy whatsoever, and Yelbin, who went ahead and decided to retire from the session with just about 2 minutes left, it looked like that decision paid off. He was able to save time. And he was able to make it into Q2. No one below him was able to improve into Q2. So, very, very interesting session. But our pole setter, for the moment at least, would be Retro Rixie. Sorry about that. Looking at the order now. From the bottom, the 5 drivers who don't make it: XRL, Whippy in the Red Bull, Stumpy in the McLaren who crashed out, Turbo in the Ferrari, Fratters in the AlphaTauri, and Steele in the other Red Bull. The Renaults of Herbie and Jalbin barely make it in, while Ferrari has Smish representing them in Q2. Mercedes drivers of Snake and Books are 10th and 12th on the time sheets, while Constant Jet and the Williams is the sandwich in between them. The McLaren of Careless Jackson makes it in 9th. AlphaTauri is XRL Fritz, he's 8th. Alfa Romeo of XRL Cargo is 7th. Find Waldo in the BWT Racing Point is 6th. He and Otwi both ran medium tire compounds. They're 5th. And now the game's going to kick me out before I finish. Go figure. But you saw that Retro and Remitsko and Boothy all were able to make it into the next session, as well as we now begin to start up for qualifying session 2. It looks like one of the Haas's will be the first one out. I believe that will be Boothy, and yes, it is. Boothy and the Haas will be the first driver out. He's starting on the medium tire compounds right now. Relatively even split amongst everyone on if they want to start on the mediums or the softs tires. I imagine we'll probably see near the end of the session a lot of drivers running softs. So. Oh, and Boothy! Boothy has turned it around there. Camera will change, but Boothy loops it around in the S's. No damage on that car, but he definitely took those tires for a slide. Here's hoping he didn't flat spot them or anything. But that means that now the first driver will cross the line will be XRL Herbie. And Otwi is out on the circuit, but he's under red lap, so apparently he's invalidated this lap. Again, out laps, that doesn't matter too much, but if you're invalidating this early, that may showcase bad results for himself. He's on softs right now, so he will definitely be attempting to go at least full bore here at the start. Herbie and now his teammate Jalbin will cross the line, so the 2 Renaults will attempt to be the first 2 drivers to set times. Here is Retro. And that is one of the AlphaTauris that's pulled off. That's Fritz, who was off the circuit there in turn 1. And now yellow flags in sectors 2 and sector 3. Now sector 1 and 3, that's one of the... That's Herbie. Herbie has gone off the circuit there at the exit of the S's. We're going to have to jump into the grass so that way he's not blocking the track for other drivers. He's trying so hard. Careless Jackson right under. Now he's going to try and overtake. Yeah, we'll overtake Retro. Retro's going to give him the lap. So now it's Gelbind who is going to be the first one across the line, assuming nothing goes wrong here. Spoon. And then they come down this here back straightaway into 130R. And 130R, once upon a time, 130R was one of the most aggressive and difficult circuits in the entirety of the Formula 1 calendar. But now with the levels of downforce that these cars run innately, it's not really that much of a challenge anymore as long as you're not right underneath someone's rear wing and losing all your downforce. It's not stupid easy to run, but it's much, much easier to run now than it was before. So it's not as much of a technically challenging corner at this point, sadly. Carlos Jackson goes to the top, so once again, one McLaren in the back of the field, one McLaren at the top of the field. Two soft tire compound equipped cars have set times, and three of them on the mediums have set times. Now here comes Find Waldo. He's coming into the pits right now. And Atui, who's running on the soft tire compounds, coming out of that final corner. The DRS opens, and at the line, 127.777. So the gap between softs and mediums are extremely, extremely obvious right now. Snake, he's invalidated his current lap. This is Boothie, meanwhile. Oh, and Constant Jet has gone off now in Spoon. And he has both a McLaren and a Renault catching up to him extremely quickly. Hopefully he will be up to a reasonable speed that won't cause an issue. As they catch him, it does not look like he will. Now, he is on his out lap. Herbie in the middle of another invalid lap here. As his teammate Gelbind goes ahead and jumps into the pits. Retro to second. Well, third now as Fritz jumps in, but Retro on the medium. This is the best time we've seen from the medium tire compounds thus far. We appear to have lost Asta significantly. I was wondering if he was just trying to take care of something, but he seems to be completely offline. I have no idea what the problem on his end might be. This is Constant Jet, as he's now getting underway here. Excuse me! This is Rim, Mexico, sub-driver who is subbing the Haas machine right now, as WCD Fair has been gone for a period of time. As he dives into 130R, he's already ran one lap, but that lap was invalid. He's going to try and make this one a more valid time here. We know the Haas machines have pace. Boothie is the second fastest right now, and the fastest on the mediums. At the line, Rim, good enough for third, 128.030. No one's touching, Boothie's close, but he's not really touching Ottawa yet, and Ottawa does have the advantage of the soft tire compounds for the moment. This is Books. He has a purple sector 1 now. He's one of 5 drivers who have yet to set times with roughly 8 minutes left. In qualifying sector 2, Herbie has dropped now to 11th, 151.019. He's almost 21 seconds, actually more than 21 seconds off 10th right now. Herbie has had no luck whatsoever trying to get stuff going. As Herbie and Tom are both in the pits right now. Snake and Walter are on out laps at the moment. Books is the driver with the biggest shakeup potential in the short term. He's on a clean lap and on that back straight right now. No flag back there in sector 1. That is Smish or... No, that's Cargo. Cargo in the other Alfa Romeo has gone off the track completely there. And Cargo has been disqualified for the session due to going the wrong way. The car went off the circuit in the S's, and he has now been disqualified for that. So by default, one of the Alfa Romeos will not be able to advance into the next round. So Ottaway is going to Ottaway, who's pretty much a lock for Q3 and the top 10, if not better, is going to have to play a lot of defense on his own. His teammate is not going to be there able to help him. This is Waldo here on an outlap, as is Snake. Tom is still in the pits. He has yet to set a time. Herbie has set a time, but his time has been quite poor for all intents and purposes. This is Books in the other Mercedes. Snake is in one Mercedes, and then Books is in the other one. And Books is coming down into Spoon. And at the end of Sector 2, the time that he has right now is going to be a 1:13.162, so he's almost 2/10 down on time right now. He might want to consider abandoning this lap and jumping in for new ones. He's almost out of fuel anyway. Here comes Find Waldo, 14th. He is also on the soft tire compounds. Rim has retired from the session altogether. So Rim feels very confident in his ability to make it into Q3 here. And I believe that's one of the... Yes, that's Herbie who's pulled off the circuit again there. We're back. He's back underway. He's on an outlap again, trying to improve. Yeah, he has a lot to improve, but he really needs to find that lot to improve. But anyways, Find Waldo comes across the line to the top, 1:27.151. And his teammate, Retro, he's on the medium tire compounds. He's 6th on the timesheets right now. But assuming nothing too crazy happens, Retro will make it into Q3. And that's really the most important thing, is making it into Q3. Then Retro can really pull off the speed that everyone here knows that he has. Here comes Snake coming across the line. He will go up to 8th with a 1:28.851. Tome is the only driver yet who has to set a time, but he is still in the pit lane. And then Herbie obviously needs to improve and needs to improve badly. Again, he's roughly 22 seconds out from 12th alone, and to get into the top 10, get up there with his teammate, he needs to improve by about 12.5 seconds. Not 12.5, 22.5. He's 11 seconds up right now. And Smish has retired from the session, apparently. And Smish is right on the borderline. He's 10th on the timesheets right now. I don't know if I'd feel confident with that, with both Herbie and Tome still being wildcards that could improve. I don't know if I'd feel confident retiring at this point in the session. But to be fair, if he feels like there's no more improvements that he can do, nothing else he can do, I guess it's not a bad idea, but... there's still 3 minutes 40 seconds left in the session. I feel very confident in that. He's 21.142 up, Herbie is, at the end of Sector 2. Sector 3 is pretty much 130R, then the chicane, and then the high-flying full-throttle corner coming out. And at the line, it's good enough for 11th, 129.576, but he's still below Smish. Books is on another outlap. And Constant Jet is trying desperately to improve, but he's going to get that car nice and sideways there through the S's. That's going to cost him some time. And he's off! And that's Constant Jet completely off the circuit now. Car had a little bit of a bobble about midway through the S's. The car slid off the circuit, then exiting the S's. He's into the dirt, hit the wall. I don't see any damage on the front wing of the car, so he should be okay to go for a little bit longer. Oh, and he goes around again. Oh, almost goes around again, at least. But the extremely technical nature of Suzuka catching many of these drivers out, including Constant Jet. Smish is still 10th, despite retiring relatively early. He's still 10th. Herbie is up, though, to a 129.566, but he's 4 seconds down this lap. Books is at 129.805 at the end of this most recent lap. So he's 12th. Constant Jet has turned himself around. This is Tome. Tome is now finally coming out of the pits. He will have just enough time to set one flying lap. Jet 23 seconds down that time due to that crash that he had that prior lap. But again, no serious damage as long as he can keep that car stable. He may have what it takes to make it into Q3. Smish in the pits is looking on anxiously. There's still a lot of time left and a lot of drivers with the potential to overcome him. This is Books. He's half a second up right now. If he can maintain that, he will overtake Smish and make his way into Q3. And yes, he does. So move Books up into 9th. Smish is out, and now Jailbid goes onto the line. But Jailbid is in the middle of a dirty lap right now. He has 44 seconds left on the time, though. If he can make it to the line, he'll be okay. And he has full ERS uses he'll be able to utilize. His teammate Herbie has dirtied his current lap. It looks like 129.576 is the best he's going to get unless he can make it to the line in time. Tome. He still has yet to set a lap. Riding extremely slow, carefully. And now he's coming around, opens up the DRS. This is it, his one flying lap. He could not afford to make a mistake. For Jailbin, everything's coming down to this. For the Williams team, it's coming down to this, and it's not looking very good. Also of note, Boothie and Rim are the only two drivers on the mediums and not the softs at the start of this, so that could, who are in the top 10 at least for right now. This could be very interesting. But Tome is on the mediums, and if he can make them stick, he will also throw his hat into that ring of unique strategies. Constant Jet's teammate, Tome, is a few seconds behind him on the racetrack, but it's relatively clean on the circuit for both of them right now. These are the two drivers that everyone's focusing on, the two Williams. Can they advance into Q3? Coming into Spoon now. We've seen Spoon catch out a lot of drivers, especially if they don't have the perfect setups. Putting everything on the line. Across that alternate start-finish line, down that back straightaway. His fuel is running low, but he's got full ERS. Well, not full, he had full to start with. He's still at 52% ERS. Now regenerate some of that under braking in the chicane. Coming down to it. DRS opens now. And at the line, Tome, it's good enough for 9th. And that means that he's in. Jailbin is out. Now, what about his teammate Constant Jet? He's 14 seconds down. So Constant Jet is not going to make it into the next round, period. He's the only car still out on the circuit, so I imagine he'll go ahead and pull into the pits. But Books in the Mercedes gets knocked out late. Neither of the Renaults are going to make it in. Only 3 of the Ferrari-powered engine cars will make it in, and 2 of them are the Haas's, which are basically customer cars. It's very interesting. And 3 drivers will be running medium tire compounds at the start of this race. But anyways, from the bottom, the 5 drivers who did not make it in. XRL Cargo gets disqualified after spinning off the track. Then Constant Jet and the Williams will not make it. Neither will Herbie and the Renault, Smish in the Ferrari, or Jailbin in the Renault. Books in the Mercedes barely keeps it in. Tome makes it in very late in the Williams. The other Mercedes of Snake is going to make it in. Retro in the Racing Point will make it in. Careless Jackson, the McLaren is in. Fritz in the AlphaTauri is in. Boothie and Rim in the Haas's are both in. Otwi in the Alfa Romeo is in. And Find Waldo in the Racing Point. As we now enter qualifying section 3. Now the track is a lot sunnier. Question, as usual, who's going to be the first driver out onto the track? It looks like it's going to be Retro who will be the first one out on the track. So the Racing Points trying to make up for lost time, lost ground last week at Sochi. The driver who was the points leader until getting caught up in those two big accidents last week. Retro is now on the circuit. He's 11 points out of the points lead. Gaining the pole here would definitely help set this weekend, this race, on the right track. And for those of you who are watching who are not with us before, XRL runs races as follows. You have full-length qualifying sessions and then a 50% length race. So the race will be roughly 1 hour with pretty much one single pit stop in it. So Retro rounds that hairpin right now. He does the run down the spoon. Everyone except for Books, Rim, and Waldo, who is Retro's teammate, are out on the track at this point right now. The Snake Hill scoot on by, I believe that's Boothie. Boothie just trying to get some clean track by himself for the moment. Fritz, meanwhile, is closing in. Tome, the only Williams to make it, and now Fritz is going to let off just a bit so that we can open up the gap. With only 10 cars on the track, it's going to be much, much easier to open up a little bit of a gap and get some clean track. And now, the only driver who is not on the circuit is Remisco. Everyone running the soft tower compound, so I'm just going to remove the figure detail. Waldo's still on an out lap. Closing in on his teammate Retro. Retro will be the first driver to set a lap in this session. Entering Spoon now. Gotta be extremely careful. We've seen four different instances of drivers going around there at Spoon. If you don't have the ideal aerodynamic setup, you will go around. No ifs, ands, buts about it through that corner. 111.532 at the end of Sector 2. And Sector 3 is basically 130R, the in chicane, and then that full throttle, slight bend final corner. So coming to the line, Retro will set the bar very early in qualifying Sector 3. 128.368. He'll be joined by Carlos Jackson at the line. Jackson will set a time even better, 128.340. Now it's Ottaway's turn to the top 127.614. That's closer to times that we were seeing in Q2. And I imagine they might even be able to take even more time off. And you have Boothie, who's coming up next. 118.128 at the end of Sector 2. What's it going to be at the end of Sector 3, though, for Boothie? Coming to the line with the DRS open, it's only a 136.383. He's way off time right now. This is Tome, 111.537 at the end of Sector 2 for him. Now the final corner, he will set a time good enough for second, 128.044. The only driver in the 27s right now is Ottaway. As Rim is finally on his way out, Fritz has invalidated his lap and he's jumping into the pits. Here comes Books. But ahead of him is going to be Waldo. Waldo will be the next driver to set a time, as will Retro. Retro setting up for another time. He's up by almost half a second at the end of Sector 2. DRS charging up, and will pop open. So at the line, Retro will improve to the top, 127.491. And now his teammate, Fine Waldo, beats him. Waldo, 127.318. And now for Books, he's invalidated his current lap. Fritz is in the pits, and Rim is still on a warm-up lap. Matsui jumping into the pits. Going to probably jump onto a different set of tires as well. For right now, it's a lockout on the front row for the Racing Points. It was almost a lockout at Sachi. It was a 1-3 there, but chaos from the leaders basically end up causing them to lose all that time. They need to capitalize on their ability now going into the race. Right now, they seem to be sure locks for at least the top 2 rows. This is Books. Trying to set a time. He's not been able to set a time yet. Meanwhile, Boothie in the S's. Trying to improve. 6 on the time sheets right now. So 128.310, and he's around! And he's going to damage the nose of the car, spins it around, gets a little bit too aggressive there, exiting the S's. And with only a little less than 6 minutes left in the second, he needs to come around the circuit as fast as he can, swap out wings so he can repair the damage. Fritz is now exiting the pits. This is Rim. Visco, finally, on track to set his time. One of 3 drivers who have yet to set a time in the session. The Racing Points are both pitting. Carlos Jackson is pitting as well. Books is going to leapfrog Snake, so move Books up to 129.136. Snake is in the pits right now. And it will be, Boothie will be the next driver to come into the pits because he just damaged his front wing. So Rim here, who's rounding and coming out of Spoon now, will be the next driver to set a time in the session. 111.080 at the end of Sector 2. It's a very respectable time, and there's a lot of time that can be gained with a good run through the chicane here. It's still clean, it's still good. Coming to the line, the DRS pops open. Second, 127.473. Fritz is on an out lap. Snake is also on an out lap. Books, 129.136, trying to see if he can improve, and if so, where he can improve. Atui is on an out lap as well. Books way off pace right now. Is significantly off pace because he is nearly out of fuel. He's just trying to coast it to the line. But his teammate Snake, not a similar position. Snake is trying to go hardcore, balls to the wall to get the full ability coming up. He'll overtake his teammate there right before 130R. Fritz, meanwhile, trying to see what he can do. Waldo and Retro are both on out laps. Rim has invalidated his current lap, and he's nearly out of fuel as well. Carlos Jackson has gone off the circuit there in the S's. 6 on the timesheets right now. He went off in the middle of an out lap as well, so that's not going to help him. We'll wait until Boothie here goes by. But anyways, the next driver who will set a time, assuming nothing goes wrong, he doesn't invalidate here, this is it, XRL Fritz. Tires briefly into the dirt there, coming down to finish up his lap. The gap, the spread between first and ninth right now is just about 2 seconds. Fritz jumps right into the middle of that gap, 128.817. Fritz is the only Honda-powered machine here in Q3. Everyone else is running either Mercedes, Ferrari, or Renault power. And even then, there's only one Renault-powered car, and that's from Carlos Jackson. It's a Snake. He's 4 seconds down on his time. He's probably going to come into the pit. No, he's staying out. He seems to think that he has the ability to improve still, despite being 4 seconds down that prior lap. Books is in the pits. Fritz is still out there running. This is Careless Jackson. He's improved a small amount by about 500 at the line, but that's not enough to really change anything. Retro is coming down now. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That's our current top driver. Find Waldo. Waldo has completely totaled the nose of that car by the looks of it. Well, not completely totaled, but there is significant damage on the nose of that car. He's not going to be able to improve. There's only a minute and 30 seconds left in the session. His teammate, Retro, is up by 12 hundredths at the moment. That would be enough to get him up into second. Come to the line. Racing Point's going to try and lock out the front row. They have the front row for the moment. But Rim, Atsui, Tome are all on outlaps right now, but Tome is having trouble finding clean track. There's only a minute left on the circuit, and there's a lot of track ahead of him. He needs to go, and he needs to go now. Snake is flying. He is half a second faster right now. Actually, more than half a second faster. At the end of Sector 1, at the end of Sector 2, it's gone the opposite way, though. He has lost a ton of time. He's only going to have one shot at this here. His teammate Books is just behind him. He's on an outlap trying to make it to the line in time. I'm not sure all these drivers are going to make it to the line in time. Careless Jackson, he is way down on pace right now. He's just trying to make it to the line in time as well. This is Tome with 24 seconds left. Will he make it in time? It's looking like he will, so everyone will have just enough time to set one more flying lap, and this could be a real shakeup. There goes Rim. He is right now the best of all the cars who have been... Oh, and he's invalidated! Rim invalidates his time early on in his lap. He will not be able to contend. This is Tome now. Careful with those curves. Atsui has crossed the line, but he has already finished his lap. He will not be able to improve, so fourth is the absolute best that he will be at. Waldo and Retro, they cannot improve on their time. Red is not able to improve on his time as well. He has invalidated his current lap, so right now it's all down to Tome and Careless Jackson. What can they do? There is Books in the Mercedes. He's 9th right now. It's saying that he's 3/4 of a second up. That's not enough to fight for the pole. That would help him tremendously for the race start, though. Keep it nice and clean through that final corner. Books will cross the line. Will he improve? He does not improve. And Careless Jackson pulls into the pits. What about Tome? He's coming to the line. Tome up to 4th. And that's it. Qualifying is over. Time's up. Oh, plow. Find Waldo and Retro in the Racing Points. Lock out the front row. Rim and the Haas is going to bring home 3rd. And this driver here, Tome, is able to put a good enough time down late to improve to 4th. But for Atsui, it's going to be very difficult. He is starting 5th, and his teammate isn't even in the top 10. Snake and Books in the Mercs are 9th and 10th. Fritz and the only Honda-powered AlphaTauri is 8th. The Haas Abuthi is down there in 7th. The only Renault power at the front, Careless Jackson, he's 6th. Atsui and the Alfa Romeo is 5th. Tome and the Williams is 4th. The Rimisco powerhouse. The Haas-powered Rimisco is 3rd. Retro and Waldo in the Racing Point lock out the front row. And this could be huge, huge for these drivers right now, as we begin to load up the race itself. Standing by for the moment, preparing to get underway for the race here. Stand by, getting ready to get underway here for a race at Japan. We are anticipated to have a clean and green race this entire day today. A reminder, XRL races are 50% in length. They're not full-length races. They're 50% length races. We're preparing to get underway here. Anyways, real quickly, as I go back over the standings, when it comes to manufacturers' points, the Alfa Romeo team is coming very close to locking it up. They have 333 points, while the Racing Point only has 279. But when it comes to the driver's title, though, with Retro getting pole and Cargo starting in fifth, well, Retro not getting pole, but Retro getting second and Cargo back there in fifth, this could be the situation necessary to give Retro his points lead back. And now the question comes down to team orders. Will there be team orders if late in the race Find Waldo is ahead of Retro? Will there be team orders for him to move over so that way Retro can take the lead and maximize his points? Of course, there's no guarantee that will even happen, but that is something that absolutely needs to be considered for this event. Still standing by and preparing to get underway here at Suzuka. 17th race of the season. The season is very quickly winding down to an end here. Alright, this is it. Lights on. And it's lights out and away we go here at Suzuka. Right off the bat, Racing Point's no problem at the front, but this is a little bit farther back. There's already a bunch of chaos. The entire field gathered up in a massive scenario, and Cargo is at the end of it all, and that's going to be a mandatory safety car across the entire field here. Oh, and a little bit of contact with Stumpy, and meanwhile, that's somebody out. That's Cargo? No, that's Fritz, who's gone off the circuit altogether. So a bunch of scenarios happened right at the start, and Rem has snuck up in the middle of the Racing Points. And already a ton of penalties for drivers in the field. Real quickly, we'll show them to you. 5-second penalties for all of them, although I imagine a lot of these drivers who have these penalties will come in and pit, and then will serve their penalties while doing so. Meanwhile, these are the tire compounds that everyone is running right now. You see Smish and Turbo both decide to run hards in the Ferraris. Smish, though, has significant front wing damage, as does Turbo, I believe. I'm gonna wait until we got a better camera angle to say for certain on that. Yeah, very significant damage to Turbo's car. In fact, we're probably gonna see nearly half the field come in and pit just to repair wing damage and potentially put new tires on. For a lot of the drivers who started on the softs, they may consider jumping onto the hards and running hards almost until the end of the race. As Ozda was saying before he was kicked out, pretty much, running the hard tire compounds here does seem to be a reasonably smart idea. And already we're beginning to see pits. Buki is coming in the pits. Snake, Gelbin, Smish, Herbie all coming in the pits. Whippy is staying out. Whippy not getting a very good qualifying run. He's turned around and helped him as it does his teammate Steele. This is Turbo coming in. Stumpy is in. Constant Jet is in. Cargo is in. So roughly half the field all going ahead and pitting right now. Fritz, despite going off circuit on the first lap by himself, he took no damage. He will now move up into 10th. Also of note, Books has a time penalty, but he was the only driver with the time penalty that did not go ahead and make a stop. So Boothie is the first driver back out onto the circuit, that is. Probably won't get going green until lap 4, I imagine. It's going to take a while for the drivers in the back like Cargo, Turbo, and Hurry to make it back to field. Constant Jet jumps onto the hards. Now the two Ferraris on medium tires. Fratters is on hards. Boothie is still a long way out from the back of the field, so... And there's your predicted pit stop strategy on the medium tire compounds, although I imagine most of the drivers will try and make it one stop if they're still on mediums, and they'll just push the mediums as long as they can before jumping onto softs and pushing the softs as far as they can. Here we are, Boothie is now catching up to the back of the field here. As is Fratters, as is Gelbin, as is Smish, as is Stumpy, as is Snake, right very shortly here. Yeah, Snake is now caught up to the back. And now Constant Jet and Cargo come in. Get off the throttle, mate. Right. Here's Cargo. And the Alfa Romeo, Ottaway's teammate, is going to be very hard for Ottaway. He has no friends at the front now. This is Turbo. In the Ferrari. He's got Herbie behind him as the two of them are now trying to race in the back of the field. And if they can catch the back of the field in time, which it's looking like they will, we should be able to go green on the upcoming lap, lap 4. Find Waldo, potential redemption from last week. He is at the front. His teammate Retro is 3rd, but his teammate needs to get more points. Right now, yes, it would help because he'd be ahead of Atui, but he wouldn't be far enough ahead of Atui to take the points lead back. If they finish where they are right now, and we're still only in lap 3, so that's not likely to happen, but if they were to finish where they are now, Atui would still have the points lead over Retro. Retro needs to be much higher up in the field. Right now, with Atui in 5th, that would be enough for 10 points, and Retro would be 3rd, that'd be 15. So yeah, there would still be a 6-point swing in Atui's favor if they finish where they are right now. Imagine we'd see the safety car come in this lap, and everyone's caught up. Yep, there's the word for race control. Safety car is in this lap, and we are about to go green flag here at Suzuka. Rolling single file start instead of a standing double file start. Hopefully that means that things will be a little bit less chaotic. So now the question is, we're right on board with Retro at the start. What can he do to get back by Rem? And already Steele has a collision penalty from hitting Fritz, apparently. Field very much spread out, though, throughout. Here's a little bit of a battle. Herbie and Turbo neck and neck at the back of the field. Now Turbo will stay ahead for the moment, though. This is on board with Constant Jet behind this snake train of cars. As they're going around now, Constant Jet is going to total the car. He goes right around, coming through the S's, and completely totals the car in Sector 1. That suspension destroyed. Absolute trouble. Oh, and that's Stumpy. Stumpy is now went off the circuit. He's back home, but he's lost a bunch of time there as well now. Nothing but chaos at the back of the field here. This is Snake. He's up to 14. Fratters 13. Gelbind is 12. Boothie is right behind Steele. This is a battle for points paying position. He makes the lunge. They're going to make a little bit of contact. They make contact again. And now Boothie goes off the circuit. He's going to try and save it. He saves it at the last minute. But he's going to lose a ton of time because he's way slower on the straightaway. Snake is coming in fast. Will Snake be able to overtake Boothie before they get to 130R? No, that's a negative. Boothie may have a chance to get the spot back on Fratters, though. Waldo, fastest lap for the moment. Atui and Books are now fighting for a 6th and 7th position. Atui has lost the spot to Careless Jackson. Boothie behind Fratters, and Snake behind both of them. Snake ducks his nose out. He wants clean air. Boothie makes a move on Fratters, but he's not able to make a mistake. Fratters makes a mistake. Now Boothie gets a chance to make a mistake. They're going to be side by side going into the S's. Fratters into the dirt right in front of Boothie. Instead of cutting the air off of Boothie's car, he is not going to be happy with that one bit. Fratters having significant problem keeping that car stable through the S's. Boothie is way faster, but there's no place he can cleanly get by. He's going to make the lunge. He barely is able to make that thing sink. Fratters is out in the dirt, and now it's Snake's turn to try and get by Fratters as they go into a heavy braking zone, and they make contact, and Fratters is around. Fratters is around, and I think Stumpy made contact with the cars ahead of him. Yes, Stumpy now has front wing damage, and a track where aerodynamics are so important, that's going to be a very, very, very bad result. And there's somebody off the circuit up there. Who is that? That's Atui, one of your championship contenders. Atui has gone off the circuit, and forget where he points. He's now out of the points altogether now. No damage on that car. He'll be able to go for a little bit longer, but this is perfect for the Racing Point team, who are running 1st and 3rd right now. Atui not even close to the points paying positions right now. Look at this. Whippy has worked his way up into the 13th position. There goes Fritz. Now Whippy is going to have to to repair damage on that car. Fritz is pitting as well. Snake has caught Boothie. He's making a look to the inside, not able to make it stick. Snake believes himself to be faster than Boothie. Boothie is closing in on JL a bit. Boothie makes very, very brief contact there. Oh, and that's Books! And Books is now off. Books spins it onto the circuit, but that's right in front of the field. That might be a penalty. He whipped it onto the track right in front of two other cars. But he is back onto the circuit. Boothie has caught JL Bid into the heavier braking zones. And now underneath the bridge, coming down towards the hairpin. Not very many ideal overtaking spots at this point in the track. Boothie gives Gelbin just a little bit of a tap on the rear tire. Now they put the power down. Snake is falling off the back of this group in just a bit. Boothie in the draft behind Gelbin. Will he make a lunge into Spoon? He thinks of it, but thinks better of it as well. Now Spoon. Gelbin puts the power down a little bit smoother. But Boothie has the draft. It will keep him within touching distance of Gelbin here. Rim now has the fastest lap on the circuit. Boothie, much, much quicker line through the chicane, but Gelbin's car is right in the way. It's going to hold him up and stall him out. But he now has DRS open on Gelbin, so it will enable him to get much, much closer. Not close enough to make something happen, though. Oh! And Books has gone off the circuit, coming into the pits. He is back into the pits, but something happened there. I'm not 100% sure what. This is Whippy. Whippy has Stumpy just a little bit behind him as a bunch of drivers are coming into pit. He has so much wing damage going on throughout the field right now. It's almost a little hard to keep up with everything. This is Gelbin, gets another little tap from Boothie. Boothie, oh, he's gonna turn it sideways. And now this means Snake has a chance. Snake has a chance to make something happen on Boothie. If he can just stay on that the rear end of that car, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the back of the field. Boothie is faster than Gelbin, but Boothie is being way too aggressive as burning his tires down, trying to get by him. Snake on the medium. This battle will eventually come to him as long as he doesn't lose too much time behind these drivers. They're all losing time to Steele, but Steele has a 5-second penalty he'll have to serve when he does go ahead and jump into the pits. Boothie, he's going to have DRS on Gelbin, but the thing is, Gelbin is going to have DRS on Steele. So the DRS for Boothie isn't going to mean a whole lot. In fact, Snake has DRS as well, and Cargo has DRS as well. Everyone on that little straight is close enough to have DRS on each other, and no one can really make anything happen, though. At the front, the top 4 cars are all spread out pretty significantly. In fact, I'll say the top 5 are all spread out significantly. This is the main battle on the track right now. Boothie trying to make something happen. Gelbin ahead of him. The Renault's not in the greatest position during qualifying. May have gotten issues sorted out during the race, but it's not sorted out to Boothie's perspective. Boothie, ooh, wow, that got really nutty there. And they're all closing in on Steele, actually. Oh, here he is. He's making the dive bomb in the hairpin. And he makes it stick. Not only does he make it stick, Snake is going to make it stick as well. Well, Snake is trying to make it stick at least, but they're still side by side. Gelbin is actually going to move back in front of Snake now. Will he make a move back on Boothie? No, Boothie gets a much, much cleaner line there through the corner. Now it's Boothie's turn. He's got Steele ahead of him. Oh, and Smish and Whippy. Whippy has gone off the circuit there and has damaged the wing in the S's. Meanwhile, his teammate Steele, he has a Haas of Boothie right behind him, ready to make something happen. It's going to be a nice, simple, smooth DRS overtake. Gelbin trying to hold Snake off. And Cargo is very slowly closing in on this battle as it goes on. gap Boothie has already opened up on Steel. He is gone. He is running down. Oh, there's a safety car, and Whippy has DNF'd his machine on the circuit. I don't see where, but Whippy is out of the race after being involved in about 3 different incidents. This will help Smish a little bit. He was on pit road when it happened. And now Boothie, Boothie has a drive-through penalty now that he has to serve for speeding under the safety car. Steel still has a 5-second time penalty, and Herbie has a 3-second one. That's going to be a full course yellow, so the entire field will mandatorily be bunched up. Waldo has pitted. Rim is staying out apparently, though. Waldo is pitted. Rim has pitted as well. But Retro did not pit. Oh no, Retro pit. It's so hard to tell where everyone is because people were already in the pits when the yellow flag came out. So Snake apparently has worked his way up into the top because Snake has not pitted yet. In fact, everyone is now on a different set of tires than what they started this race on. And now Boothie is serving his drive-thru. No, he's not. I take that back. He's not serving his drive-thru. And now Fritz has a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I just want to say it's going to take a long time for the field to all properly catch up. Smish is basically 3/4 of a lap down compared to the leaders. So, but of note, the driver who will take the points lead, if he can just get a little bit higher, if he finishes 4th or higher, Retro will take the points lead back. He's 5th right now. He's on the hards. He can make those hards run to the end. There are a bunch of drivers on mediums. In fact, no one seems to be on softs at this point. Everyone's running mediums or hards by the looks of it. Also, no, Atwi is in the pit lane. He's pitting, and I imagine he might consider jumping on the mediums. Yes, he's going to jump onto the medium so he can catch up to the field a little bit quicker, but he's going to be behind Smish. Now, no, Boothie will have a drive-through penalty he will have to serve. He's 7th right now, and this will effectively drop him out. This is the 2nd time he will have been knocked out of points-paying positions. He has one of the fastest cars here. He's one of the most aggressive drivers on the track, but he keeps making mistakes and getting penalties, and that's what's knocking him out of the points-paying position. He's going to have to charge up to the field again. Find Waldo. The race is slowly turning into a redemption arc. He does still have Risco and the Mercedes Snake behind him. But still, very, very good for Waldo. Right now, everyone, with the exception of Snake, is on fresh tires. So everyone's basically on even playing field. Snake is the big exception. When Snake finally does go ahead and make the choice to pit, I'm sure that he'll fall way down the order. Herbie has gone ahead and made another stop, as has Fratters. And now this is the situation where Atwi and Smish are in. Because this track spends so much time off throttle and you're just turning, you're not full throttle, the delta difference between a lap at full race pace, which is why I guarantee you the bottom 4 drivers are doing trying to catch up, and the time in a lap spent under yellow are extremely, extremely close. A lot closer than they would be at tracks such as, for instance, Monza or Montreal or Spa. So because of that, it's going to take these drivers in the back a significantly longer period of time to catch up to the front. It looks like Smish will make it to the back of the grid before this lap is over, but for Atwi, he needs to make it to the back of the grid. If he does not make it to the back of the grid, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He needs to be right there and be able to capitalize on what inevitably will be some restart chaos in the drivers up ahead of him. Atwi needs to get back into the point-to-point position. He has an 11-point lead in the standings. He needs to do whatever he can to salvage that. And he also needs Retro to not be any higher than 5th at the end of this race, just so he can maintain his lead. We're not even talking about locking in. We're just talking about Atwi trying to maintain a 11-second lead that he has over Retro coming into this race. Not 11-second, I'm sorry, 11-point lead. And it looks like Atui will catch up to the back of the field in time, so we can see them potentially go green this lap here. And there is your word, safety car in this lap. So now we're going to ride on board with Snake. Waldo really trying to pinch Rim off, but we're going to ride on board with Snake as we go green. Rim out, right on board with Rim instead. They're already side by side for the top spot. Rim is on the outside of Waldo. Will he stick it in? They're neck and neck behind. The Mercedes, the Snake goes wide. Now Tome moves ahead. They're still side by side, and now the Haas gets pinched off the circuit. Waldo pinched his Rim off the circuit, so Waldo did not have a very good start, but he was able to maintain it. Snake has slipped back to 5th. Boothie is there in 7th, but he still has a drive-through penalty to make. He is driving very angry right now. Now Herbie has a time penalty for track violations. Tome is ahead of Retro. So, and there he goes. He's going to make a dive bomb. Boy, he makes a dive bomb. He's going to make it sick. He's going to try and make 2 dive bombs sick at once. He's only able to make 1 of them sick, but he still picks up 1 more spot. He's going to try and get by Snake, I imagine, before his lap is over as well. He has a drive-through to serve, but he just negated some of the damage the drive-through is going to make with those aggressive moves. He's been making it. Now he's around. And now Boothie is going to spin it around. All the good fortune that he had is gone. Riding on board Boothie is a roller coaster today. Right now, Audrey just trying to hold on to the back of the field. Now Books is a 3-second time penalty for track violations. This is Audrey, who's on the back of the field. There's Boothie, who will finally go ahead and make his stop. Snake is on 10-lap Horn medium tires. These are the oldest tires on the entire field right now. This is an interesting battle. Cargo, the other Alfa Romeo, he's trying to make something happen to both Dale Ben and Carlos Jackson ahead of him. He's on mediums, and the 2 cars ahead of him are on hards. So for now, at least, Cargo is significantly faster than them both. Have a chance to make a dive bomb here going into the hairpin. Galpin moves over to defend, so Cargo looks to the outside instead and will try to beat him by putting the power down a little bit earlier. And that's exactly what's going to happen. An outstanding move from him to move Cargo up into the 7th position. A little bit farther up though, Retro, he's closing in on Tome. As it is right now, Retro would re-inherit the points lead if everyone finished where they are right now on the track. And DRS has just been enabled. Snake, who's just behind Retro, that's some very, very good news, because if he just hold on to the back, it will enable him to hold on to a top 5 spot. And when he does pit, hopefully, I'm sure he's hoping at least, that the field will be a little bit more spread out behind, and will make it a little bit easier for him to move up. Ooh, and Stumpy, we just barely briefly saw it there in the S's, but Stumpy makes a nice, difficult overtaking maneuver on Herbie through the S's. Ooh! And that was Cargo! Now Cargo is back out of the points paying positions as he has gone around there. I don't see any damage on that car. He has gone around. Now Books has gone off the circuit as well. Atui's up to 15th. But this is a real battle here. Snake trying to see if he can hold on to the back of Retro, and Retro wants to get up to Tome. Carlos Jackson behind all of them. here's Retro. Oh, and Snake is pitting. He's going to get off those 11-lap more mediums. And now the question is he going to, what kind of tire compound is he going to jump onto now for the rest of this race? Ottaway now has a 3-second time penalty for track violation warnings. So it's going from bad to worse for Ottaway. And there's a yellow flag, a virtual safety car. Stumpy and Herbie have both gone off the circuit significantly there at turn 1. So now, even with the time penalty, though, Ottaway is now up to 11, and now Ottaway has a drive-through penalty. I take that back. And there's a virtual safety car, so the field will not gather up like they had earlier. We'll actually be back under green flag conditions very shortly. And now Books also has a drive-through penalty as well. But we are back under green now. One second. Sorry about that. Turbo in the Ferrari, he's up to 9th. He's in the points paying position, so things are looking relatively solid for him right now. Steele, the only Red Bull still on the track, he's 8th. Gelbin's ahead of him, and there we are. Ottaway is making his drive through now. As is Books. Gelbin, he's been very, very slow in the S's, so Steele may have a chance to make a move on Gelbin if he can just get a better launch out of the S's than that Renault. Of course, with the dirty hole, the air punt, the hole punch in the air makes it dirty, basically. Steele's gonna have a hard time holding in behind the rear wing of our 7th place driver right now. A little bit farther back. Fratters, he has a time penalty, but he's trying to make something happen on Turbo right now. Of note, Ottaway is 14th, Retro is 4th. So that is, as it is right now, Retro would take the points lead back if everyone finished where they are right now on the track. Big thing to note, though, is that Retro is still within striking distance to Tome. He may be able to rip a 3rd place finish out of this race before it's over. Cargo has gone ahead and jumped onto the soft tire compounds, potentially trying to go for a fastest lap. I'm sure that's what he's hoping for, at least. Fratters. Again, this is probably the most intense active battle on the track that isn't between 3rd and 4th, Retro and Tome. For right now, I think it's pretty obvious that Retro just wants to try and make it happen using a DRS overtake on the front stretch if he can. Is close enough. He will have DRS on the straight here. But will he be close enough to be able to make that work to get, not even in front, but just alongside the Williams? The DRS is open on the racing point. He's charging. But he is not charging fast enough. Ooh, but he gains a lot in the braking zone there. And Fritz has gone ahead and made a stop. and now move both Ferraris up into points paid positions. And now Dalebin has a track violation warning. A track violation penalty. So now this here, and Cargo now sets the fastest time, 1:29.590. But this here is now the biggest battle on the racetrack, and Otwi has fallen all the way to 16th. So the chances of our points leader earning points at the end of the day today dwindling away quicker and quicker. And Retro trying to set himself up to take the points lead back here. Will Retro be close enough to make the DRS overtake work this time by? That's the question. He's got it open, but you can see that Tome is much better putting the power down, coming out of that final chicane. So although Retro has the DRS, he's so far back, he's not able to make anything happen. He closes in on Tome in the braking at turn 1, and he whittles the gap between them away throughout the entirety of the lap. But it looks like that Williams is either very well trimmed out for straight line speed, or, and this is the one I think is more likely, he's got much better initial acceleration. And that in turn is canceling out the DRS that Retro has been getting lap after lap. Now of note though, those two are both dropping off the leaders, and Rim himself is dropping off very rapidly off the back to find Waldo. Boothie, once again, trying to make something happen. He's up to 11th. If Boothie can just earn points at all today, I'm sure he would see it as a miracle. Goes around much wider entry, sort of tighter exit in the hairpin bay. He's going to lose a little bit of time to Fratters. This is a battle for points. 1 point, but it'll still be a battle for points. Around this corner earlier, restart. Fratters much better trimmed out for a straight line speed apparently. So Boothie, he's going to have to make the overtake happen somewhere else on the track. He will be close enough to have DRS though. Oh, wow! Boy, does he close in under braking though. Well, he closes in so much under braking, Smith now has a penalty for speed in the pits. He's going to easily get by him here just due to having DRS. In fact, so much that Fratters actually makes a mistake going into turn 1. That really caught him off guard. So now Boothie is back in the point pay position. He's 9th. Cargo has overtaken Books now. With soft tires that Cargo's on already has 3 laps on them, and I'm not 100% sure if they'll make it to the end. Otwi, 11 seconds out of 15. I think is pretty obvious that unless we have a full course safety car, there is no chance for him to get points today. But our leader, Fine Waldo, on track for redemption after Sachi. Ram in the Haas, nearly 5 seconds out. Clean track all around him. Tome is in 3rd, and he's opened up a very small gap on Retro now. Small enough that Retro no longer has DRS against him. Peerless Jackson is here in the 5th position. Absolutely no one around him. You can just faintly see Retro and Tome out behind them. Turbo's jumping into the pits and now move Boothie up into the 8th position. This is Jailbend. He's 6th. He's not been a very fast driver, but everyone else who's been fighting with him has had to pit for one reason or another. He's on the hards and he's on track to a potential 6th place finish. Just charging on. The Steel is on mediums. There's 10 laps on them though, and we're at the point where there may be a penalty, and now Smith has a penalty for speed in the pit lane. So the Ferraris have all the Ferrari-powered cars that aren't Remixo have had nothing but bad luck today. But Steele trying to see if he can run down Jailbin, and then by virtue of not having penalties compared to Jailbin, having penalties, he might be able to get 6. This is Boothie, who is in, finally, points-paying position. He's about 2.2 seconds out from Steele. Boothie is easily one of the, if not the fastest car on the track, but he's also been most aggressive and has caused himself the most issues today as well. This is Fratters, who is 9th, and he's trying to hold off Snake. Snake is on some relatively fresh mediums compared to the drivers around him on track, and Snake can easily make those last spin while pushing the entire time. Snake may have a little bit of advantage on Fratters. Fritz is behind him. Fritz is 11th. He has perfect bird's eye view of this battle for points positions with his teammate and the Mercedes ahead of him. Heavy braking there. Ooh, Snake's gonna make the move. You're gonna be neck and neck. You're still neck and neck. And here's the thing, Snake has DRS, Fratters does not. Fritz has DRS on both of them though. This is gonna get interesting, boys. And the Mercedes goes wide. Way wide. So now drops Snake out of the top 10. Now it's Fritz who is behind Fratters. Wow, and Fratters made a big mistake though, and now Fritz is gonna get by him. Now it's Snake's turn. What can Snake do to Fratters? Fratters is in the dirt. He's in the dirt again. Snake might be able to make a lunge in the hairpin. Not likely though. Oh, and Fritz is in the dirt ahead of them now. All 3 of these drivers just making a bunch of mistakes around each other. Also, no, Boothie has already caught Steele. He's wiped out that gap between the 2 of them. He will have DRS on him shortly. Snake is right there behind Fratters. All 3 of these drivers are close enough to each other that they should all have DRS on each other now. This is farther back. Boothie. He's got the DRS open. He's right underneath the Red Bull. He's going to shoot to the inside. No one's going to fight with Boothie as he breezes by Steele there. This is farther back, though. Fratters, Snake, Fritz. DRS is gone. Fratters makes a little bit of a mistake, though, in turn 1. So here comes Snake. Neck and neck. Snake falls back in line behind. Oh, he sees a move. He's going to go for it. And yes, he will make it stick. Fratters is now out of points-paying positions. But Fritz got away from both of them while they were fighting back there. For Boothie, there's still 4.5 laps he needs to put on those mediums, and he has to try and run down Jailbin. But the gap between is 2.2 seconds, but he closed down a gap of similar distance between himself and Steele. Difference is that those mediums are going to start getting really warm for Boothie, while Jailbin does not have to worry about that. Also, Turbo and Cargo are both on the pits and are running softs with the intention of potentially putting down fastest lap of the day. There's your current penalties for everyone on the track. So for Boothie, who is trying to run down Jailbin, if he can catch him and overtake him, that will be a legit overtake, and he will have that spot. Boothie is already 2 seconds, well, about 2 seconds over Steele, just over a lap. Nothing is stopping this man right now. Also of note, farther up, Retro has walked back on to Tome's rear end once again. Right there behind him. This is not the DRS straight. The only DRS activation straight on this circuit is on the front straightaway. You see one of the lap down Ferraris that's smished behind them. But Retro is close enough that... Oh, and Retro now has a 3-second time penalty. So now even if he gets by Tome, there's no guarantee he'll actually be able to hold on to 4th to the end, though. 2.5 laps to go in the event. He's got DRS. He's there, but he's not there enough to make a move. But he's a lot closer now than he was at any point earlier in the event. And no, a little bit farther back, this is Boothie. He's caught him. He's caught Jay Albin. In the S's. Trying to make something happen. Jay Albin in the dirt just a little bit there. Oh, Boothie makes a little mistake as well. This track isn't known for having a lot of overtakes, but Boothie is basically trying to do everything he can to prove that wrong. Jay Albin, 2 tires in the dirt the entire way down to the hairpin. That's going to keep Boothie right there. Boothie looks to the outside. Both put the power down at about the same time here. Boothie drops off the back of Jay Albin just a little bit, coming onto the back straight. In fact, Jay Albin opens up a sizable gap on Boothie through that entire section. It'll be interesting to see if Boothie is close enough to have DRS. Yes, he is close enough to have DRS, so he will close in a little bit on Jay Albin here. But I think Boothie is going to have to make the overtake somewhere in a corner and won't be able to make it work with just pure DRS alone. This is a battle for position. Both these drivers have the same number of penalties on them. Also of note, while Fritz is ahead of Snake on track, he's not ahead by far enough that he would maintain that position. Snake would actually end up ahead of Fritz as it stands right now. Oh, and Fratters. He's gone off the circuit farther back there. But all these drivers have caught Steele. Steele has just dropped off pace here at the end here. In fact, they're all going to have DRS on Steele if they keep this close to him. But Steele does not have time penalties. Oh! Fritz doesn't care. Fritz is going to go right around him without issue. But I know Fritz has a 5-second penalty. I don't think he's going to be able to get 5 seconds away from Steele before this is over. But Snake is definitely going to try because Snake wants to get by Steele. If he can get by Steele and just hold on to the back of Fritz, he will get over Fritz. A little bit farther up. Boothie right underneath Jay Albin. The white flag is in the air. I didn't say it earlier, but the white flag is out. Rim is closing on Waldo, but with a gap of over 2.5 seconds, it's not going to be enough for Rim to make any shot happen. Jay Albin makes a huge mistake in turn 1, and now move Boothie up into the 6th spot. No, Smish has a 3-second time penalty. Snake caught behind Steele. And this means there's a risk that Snake will not be able to overtake Fritz at the end here. Oh, there he is! Snake is going to get by Fritz! I mean, not Fritz, Steele. One of the most difficult sections of the track to do it, but he made it stick. He's roughly a little bit under 2 seconds out from Fritz. He needs to run down that gap. But at the front, find Waldo. Clean redemption from Saki. Rim brings it home 2nd, and Tome is going to be able to hold on to 3rd with some decent moves on restarts. And for Retro, he will take home 4th and will bring home the points lead at the end of this race. It won't be a large lead, but it will be a points lead. Peerless Jackson is coming around in 5th. And now the driver I think should get driver of the day, Boothie, fights his way up into 6th despite suffering 2 penalties and a spin out. This is Yelvin who will come down 7th. Fritz, is he far enough ahead of Snake to hold on to the spot? Yes, just barely, but still will overtake both of them by virtue of not having any penalties. Now Fratters, 6 seconds down, not factor in any way. This is Turbo, he has no penalties, so there's no chance of Otwi getting over him, and even if he did, there are no points available for that fight. And then this is Books. Last driver on the track. But for Find Waldo, Redemption. Congratulations to our race winner in the Racing Point from pole to win. Well, the game gives Steel driver of the day, but I think Boothie would get, considering how much crap he had to fight back from to get points. And he got more points out anyway. And there you are. Find Waldo, your race winner. And this will also help him significantly in the points battle because he's 5th and wants to try and catch up to the battle for 3rd in the points, and this will help him significantly in doing that. And there is your end race results. And of note, Retro, like I said, he will take the points lead, but if I remember serves correctly, I think he's only going to take it by 2 points leaving this race. So the championship battle is getting stupid tight right now. I'm going to try and invite Waldo in here. I do want to see if I can get a word in with him. Also, it looks like Cargo has the fastest lap of the day. Okay, go ahead. Find Waldo. Congratulations. Redemption from last week with a massive win here from the pole. What do you have to say? Wait, Waldo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations. You're on air. Go ahead and include your audio. You've got redemption from the chaos that was last week. You've got the win from the poll. What do you have to say about your win today?
It's been a long time coming. I'm so stoked. Yeah, that's about it.
Absolutely outstanding job. You pretty much led flag to flag. There was that one restart where Remisco got alongside of you, but beyond that, outright outstanding job. I'm just going to say it's probably one of the most dominant runs we've seen this entire season.
Yeah, just like everything just clicked. I did hit Ren after the safety car restart, so I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, just struggled with the tires. They were about to explode in the end.
Well, the struggle must not have been too bad because you had a massive gap and were able to sacrifice a bunch of it towards the end. So congratulations on your victory. Season's winding down fast, but you got that capital W. Good job.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
That's your word from your race winner, Find Waldo. We won't know 100% for sure what the points look like because there may still be penalties that will be or will not be awarded afterwards. But right now it's looking like it looks like the points leader will go back to Retro Ixie after finishing 4th, but it will be a very small points lead. We're anticipating it to only be a points lead of 2 points at the end of this race going into our event next week. But anyways, I've been Sane Leader 13. I want to thank everyone so much for being around and sticking around for a very interesting race. Not the most chaotic, not the most memorable Suzuka race, but still a very, very solid race all around. A lot of crazy chaos in the first third, led on to a very interesting run with a lot of drivers in the back of the field making crazy moves, and redemption for the entire Racing Point team. But anyways, that's it for me. In a week's time, same channel, we will be at the same series but a different racetrack. I believe it will be Circuit of the Americas. I could be wrong, but I believe it will be Circuit of the Americas then. Anyways, I've been Insane Leader 13. I want to wish you goodbye and have a good week.